Hi, my name is Dan Slobodan. You can find me on LinkedIn. There's two Dan Slobodans, so I'm the one on stage. What we're going to cover is how to make an offer. This is a basic entry level 101. However, I think even if you have great offers that are really functioning, I think you'll pick up some ideas. Now, what basically we're trying to do is to avoid selling a commodity where you're just competing on price, but constructing really great offers that are going to detach you, divorce you from being a commodity, price driven,
Right, right.
race to the bottom kind of seller. That's the goal of the meeting and the training. And then we're going to have basically, here's what we're going to cover. So we'll cover standard offers, how they're constructed, how to improve your offers if you already have it, and then what makes your prospect actually take action. I've seen over the last 10 years, a lot of times people will construct an offer, but no one takes action. So there's a lot of these little triggers that we're going to talk about that you can implement that trigger, and it might take an offer where the prospect is not taking action for you, where he does take action for you. And that's what we're going to focus on. Also, we'll have a question and answer session at the end. This is being recorded, as far as I understand. So at the end, if the recording comes through, I will post it on monthlymastermind.org. And anyway, if you don't get it and you want the recording, just email me at dan@monthlymastermind.org or go to Dan Slobodan on LinkedIn, and I check my messages pretty much every working day once. We'll have the Q&A. You can unmute yourself and talk to me, or you can just type in the chat. If you have something like super secret, like you're getting funding from a venture capital and you're not allowed to share because you have these non-disclosures, you want me to sign an NDA and then ask, just email me or message me on LinkedIn and I will sign an NDA and then we can talk in private. Okay, am I qualified to teach? I've been doing this kind of sales funnels for over at least 200 employers, clients, and so on. And I've done over 100 really customized offers. I'm going to say in the last at least 10 years. So hopefully I am qualified. The one thing I'm not very good at spelling grammar. I've been knocked out in the spelling bee the first round every single year. So if you spot any spelling or grammar, just message me so I can fix it for the next one. All right, so let's start with what is an offer. So basically, an offer is when you are asking for something like money, an email, phone number, time, attention, anything like that, then you are making an offer to somebody and it's an exchange for something. That's what an offer. Now, what we don't want to do is be a commodity. In other words, somebody could sell, for example, let's use an example. Like I have a keto. I was looking for keto diets for a couple of years now, and I noticed when someone is just selling a diet plan and it's just a diet, a book, for example. Let's go with the book, a keto book for a diet. That's a perfect example. And then somebody will just sell a book and it's $8. That's it. However, somebody will sell that same book, but it also has like a group that you can join on Facebook. In the group, you get support. You also get some quick start cookbook recipes and videos that are bundled. And then the whole thing is like $49. Well, that's an offer. So when you bundle it with bonuses, then you stop being a commodity like the book itself, and you're just driving down in price, and eventually you don't make any money. But you're selling that same book within an offer. That's an offer. So, and then I want to give you an example here in a second. This is what helped me understand this. A lot of people are struggling. They'll put an offer, and it might be as simple as, hey, get on my mailing list or get my newsletter. That's an offer too. We're going to obviously talk about offers where you're selling for money, but a simple one. And then I was trying to figure out, well, they just assume if they have a free newsletter, everybody's going to sign up. However, over the years, I've seen a lot of people, they get 0 people to sign up for a newsletter. And I said, well, let me ask you this. If you offered 1 kilogram of gold for an email, would your sign up rate go up? Well, everybody say, yeah, it will go up, of course. but obviously you're going to bankrupt for giving away a kilogram of gold. And I don't know how many thousands of dollars that is, but I was just trying to make an appointment. So what you got to do is from just asking for an email in exchange for nothing to a kilogram, how can you construct such a powerful offer that they will think it's dumb not to give the email? And that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give you a lot of things that obviously you don't have to give away a kilogram of gold, but you can give away things that are perceived valuable, maybe not as much as kilogram, but the more valuable they perceive it, the higher response rate you'll have where they give you the email or the phone number or an appointment, attention, or money. And that's really what I want to go through in this training today. And then if you guys want to talk one-on-one with your particular offer, I can help you. That's going to be at the end. But I think you'll get some ideas here. Now, the first one I've noticed over the years is people are not very clear on what the offer is. And any confusion in the offer is basically a confused prospect does not take action. And they specifically do not pull out a credit card. I guarantee you that. It cannot have any confusion whatsoever. So you have to construct the offer that is 100% crystal clear. They need to understand what it is, okay? So be extremely clear and be extremely specific, okay? So try to think, and the best way to test it is you can always go on these sites like Upwork, pay somebody $20, $30 and then get on a Zoom meeting and have them go through the offer for you, and then just hire them to basically be like a mystery shopper and then explain how they perceive, because the way you might see it clear but they don't. And I've had a lot of clients over the years, and actually I'm going to give you some stories about that in a minute on the competitors when we talk about their offers. But they've discovered problems by just doing this simple strategy of hiring mystery shoppers and going through the offer. And then eventually we see what's not the clarity, because it's clear to you, the owner, but it's not clear to John Doe, regular guy. And that's what you want. Jane Doe, regular lady, they need to be clear on it. That's really what's important. Now, here's another thing that's extremely, extremely important. I'll give you an example. People will hire me to fix the offer. And then what I discover really is they haven't handled any objections. So before the person gets to the offer, if you can somehow, either in the video sales letter, the text, or if they go from an ad to a landing page, they'll see, some text, they might see testimonials and so on. You got to kill as many objections as you can before they get to the offer. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is basically, for example, you're going to have to discover what the objections are. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to have one-on-one meetings, or you have like a Zoom or group, some way, shape, or form. You need to get to talk to the people directly, so you can then, when you pitch the offer, you can hear what the problem is. So you need to get an idea. Now, what are objections? Some common ones will give you, well, let me think about it. Let me talk to my wife, or I don't have enough money, or this is, it's not, I'm not sure if it's for me. So those are like objections. And then for every objection, you can rebuttal it, So you want to prepare all those rebuttals and everything, and then you want to overcome them with as many stories as you possibly can. If you have a presentation, or if you have text, or whatever. So if they, for example, if your common objection is the price, then that means you haven't really built up the value. So you need to then, before they get to the offer, kind of build up the value of it. So now when you present the offer, the price is not going to be an objection. In other words, you kill that objection in the preparatory phase of the offer. And that might require changing the sales funnel a little bit. So either you have some kind of a video that tells a couple of stories, it's going to kill the most common objections, or a lot of times you can do it on the landing page of the website. Or if you're doing the offer in person, before you get to pitch the offer, try to engage a little bit tell the story because you already know that price is going to be a factor. Or if it's like partners they need to think about, you need to then overcome that. And then that there's rebuttals for every problem, there's rebuttals on them. And we can talk about them. If you have a common objection in the Q&A, let me know. Or if you're watching this video on the website or YouTube later, just type down in the comments, and then I'll give you some examples of rebuttals for most common. I've probably developed about, I'm going to say at least 25 over the years. So I know the common ones. However, it might be something new. So I would love to hear what is the common objection that you have for your offer that you need help rebuttaling. So it's not a problem, and even developing a story. The more stories you have, people listen to stories, and then you can overcome it. Now, yeah, this is actually, I'm going to say, the biggest thing that I see. I'm going to say 90% of business owners or salespeople don't do. And that is, you need to be on top, at least the three of the biggest competitors who are selling the same thing that you are. And then you want to find out exactly what their offer is. Now, I worked with a client, and he was selling insurance. He consistently would hire um, what he called a mystery shopper, and they'll go through the whole thing to get a quote. And then that whole process had to be documented because he didn't want that the competitor come up with some idea that he's not aware, or some kind of a bonus or some kind of a discount, anything that's going to make him not competitive with his offer. So you wanted his offer to be the best in the marketplace, and he would consistently spy. Now, maybe actually the word I've heard the last few years is they don't call it spy. They actually call it competitive intelligence. So I think competitive intelligence must be at least a quarterly thing that you're going to do. So that means every 3 months, spend a little bit of time. Now, if you cannot do it yourself and it needs to be in secret, what you can do is hire people, make them sign a non-disclosure, and then have them go through the whole sales funnel and of your competitor, and have it documented just to see what you're coming up with, so you don't get left behind. Especially if your numbers go down in sales, then you need to see why are your competitors taking that sale away from you. And also, this will give you an idea. This is the easiest way to discover some kind of an incredible trigger that your competitor's using that you're not, and that you can now overcome and really improve your offer. Now, I'll tell you the number one thing that people want for most offers is results. Okay. In other words, if they're looking to solve a problem, they want a result. If they're looking for a benefit, they want a result. Now, sometimes you cannot offer a result because in some countries they have laws against it, like in investing. And I've even heard in some countries you cannot guarantee a result. So you have to be careful with that. But if you can offer a result and guarantee a result, that will make your offer incredibly powerful. Now, I have bought weight loss programs over the years. I've struggled with it for 10 years. At some point, I was like almost 300 pounds, and I think I've failed on a dozen weight loss programs. I've actually never seen anybody guarantee a result. I don't even know if that's legal, but I'll tell you this: if I saw one, I'd jump on it because that would make that program the most competitive and would be the best offer. And I looked for that, just so you know. So I know offering results, or the closest you can get on your offer to offer a result, that's going to make you incredibly powerful. All right. So now the other thing is you want that offer to be somehow special. Okay. Now I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So there's got to be a reason. People they might not believe you. If you give them an offer and there's nothing special about it, they might not believe, because what you want to avoid is that they can come back next week and then this will be available. So what is the reason? I'll give you an example. If you do, say, a webinar like this one or live event, that's already special. So at the end, if you have an offer and they know it's connected to this event, and it's limited, and it's special because it's an event. Okay. I've worked with hundreds of people who used to do seminars, because I used to do seminars myself, um, till up to about 2 years ago. And I'd go all over the country and do these events. But I've actually worked and set up a lot of the presentations, or the websites, or the script, or the databases, or a lot of stuff, the copy for hundreds of people who did seminars over the years. And I don't think we've ever created a seminar where we didn't tie the offer to that event. And that made it special. I'm not saying you might not have any events, but I want to give you an idea. However, a lot of people I work with, they have a book or they're working on one. You can always tie incredible offers to that book. That makes it special. Then, there's important days throughout the year. Uh, those unfortunately are losing value because everybody's using them, but that doesn't mean they won't give you a bump in sales. So you can tie that offer to some type of a day. Example is Black Friday, but there's many others. And then finally, and you can probably think of more reasons. I just wanted to give you a few here to get you started. However, I think the one that was very powerful that we always use it is, for example, my clients, a lot of times they'll get invited to the Chamber of Commerce, or like an association, mortgage broker association, realtor association, and then they get to do a webinar or a live event. Well, then because it's with that group, that offer was tied in, to the Chamber of Commerce of Detroit. It was tied into that. That made it special because it was only for them and it wasn't for everybody else. If you belong to some online forum and they let you pitch a product or service, then you can tie that offer to the forum. So think of some type of a group. A lot of people belong to a lot of groups. There's groups on LinkedIn. Now, I don't know if you get a chance to offer anything to any group ever, but if you do, think that is an opportunity to specialize your offer to them. That makes it way more powerful. Okay. And the other thing is, now this won't apply to every offer. If you put an offer on Amazon, there's no one's going to know what kind of person you are. So this won't apply. But a lot of times, if you have a video sales letter, if you're going through a webinar, a lot of times your personality will come through. You need to be likable. Otherwise, it will kill your offer. So if you have interaction and you are part of delivering this offer, you must be likable. Okay. I hate to say this, but a lot of people are not. And I've seen it kill the offers. The other thing that you must do is, people in generally are risk adverse. You'd be shocked, but like when I get hired by business owners, I notice, and even ones that are like millionaires, they're making tons of money. They're very fantastic. They literally put so much energy to make sure that if they pay me $5,000, that there's no risk that they're not going to get more than 5,000 back. So people are extremely risk adverse. I'm going to say in 80% of all the interactions I've had, and I've seen, because I've monitored calls and I've monitored presentations for people that hire me over the years, and I've seen the exact same thing, no matter what their offer, during the offer phase and the rebuttals is the risk. So what you want to do again is you want to prep before they get to the offer. You want to kill as much of risk as humanly possible. Now, let me give you some ideas. You want to make like a bulletproof guarantee. So obviously money back guarantee. And a lot of times if you're delivering this offer over the internet, it's almost expected. I don't even think you can get an offer through without the money back guarantee. However, I've seen a couple of people do it. So don't get me wrong, it's not impossible. I just want to tell you that this is an expectation with the majority of the public. The other thing is an idea is maybe if it's a physical product where you can exchange it. because sometimes you just cannot do a money back guarantee, but you can exchange a product. I've seen people do that successfully. So when I'm going to mention it, uh, I've seen people give lifetime guarantees for a product or service. I have a few myself because I was building up a solar system in my van. So I cut a few products where they gave me a lifetime guarantee, believe it or not, and that made me pick that product over the other product. That also received where they didn't give me a lifetime guarantee, but they guaranteed they will fix the problem in the future. So I picked that product over another product. I've never bought this, but I've actually seen some of my other clients offer, like where if you just consider them and it doesn't work out under specific conditions, though they give some conditions there. Not only will they give you the money back, say you invested $1,000, they'll give you double the money back. However, you gotta have such an incredible offer that has such a low rate to make this work, but that might bump your conversion rate incredibly. Say you go from 12% to 24%. You got to know your numbers and you got to be in it for years before you think of something like this. But I've seen a few people pull this off and get an incredibly increase on the offer conversion. And um, anyway, oh yeah, I want to give you my example. What I just started doing a couple of months ago. So I started offering this, and it's working really, really, really well. Increased my conversion rate. So I do consulting, and I sense sometimes the people are hesitant, and I use this actually as a last resort. But I've literally used this in my offer where I overcome, and I actually tested it in the pre-offer stage where I built this in before I actually make the offer. I already overcome this, and then I don't even have to do it afterwards as a rebuttal. So what I did is they'll come up and say we talk about $5,000 to build a sales funnel and ClickFunnels. It's going to have the script, all of this stuff. And then I divided like in a weekly payments. Say it was like 800 a week or whatever the number is. But I usually break it up because nobody wants to pay in advance. So I do it that way. And I have this like weekly amount. Now what I've done, so this is something new. I haven't seen anybody do it. But I'll say, I'm going to start working every Friday. I deliver you what's done. And if you don't like it or anything, not only will you not pay, but I won't even send the invoice. So this is something new. I've been testing it less than 2 months now. It's working incredibly, and it's really increased my conversion rate because I work from home now and I don't go to any seminars or whatever. So I need to, get work. So after I finish the job, I need to find someone else to get a new job. So I've been doing this. It might not work for you, but I risk 1 week, but I really do a good job so far. Just so you know, I've had 7 maybe roughly people take this. Not one has not paid me. Now I do a good job. That's why I offered it, because I make sure that I can deliver. So if you feel like you're going to have a low return rate, maybe this is something that can really increase your conversion for the offer. So anyway, I just want to throw these things out to give you ideas. Obviously, you can expand on everything. All right, give me a second here. Just going to take a drink real quick. Okay, so reciprocity, this is a trigger, is what they call it. If you can somehow build up some type of a value for free, then people subconsciously will feel obligated to somehow pay you back. Now, this is really hard to understand, but a lot of times is if you, for example, just give them great advice and really don't hold back on anything. So especially if you do, YouTube videos, webinars, Zoom, and so on, you can utilize this. People, they'll do a presentation and it's just sales pitch from the beginning to the end. Well, a lot of people then don't feel like you gave anything. But if you give everything and you really don't hold back, this reciprocity will kick in. So try to think of what is it that you can give to them where they're going to feel that there's this reciprocity trigger. So I don't know what it can be for you, but think of something that you can actually give them uh, that will be of value. And maybe this will be some type of coffee to Starbucks. People have tried all kinds of things. So the higher the value that you're asking for. So if it's a high ticket item, maybe if this goes on before the offer for a couple of weeks, you're getting to know them. There's emailing back and forth and say, hey, I just like to buy you coffee. And you send them a coffee. Well, that's something that will help you, close the offer later. So think of something. What is it that you can give that obviously is not too expensive for you? That's easy, and it doesn't look like you're bribing them. That's the other thing. But I almost try to get everybody I work for the last 10 years to utilize this reciprocity if humanly possible. Again, if you're on Amazon and it's just listed there, you can't do that. But think of it, if you can, what is it that you can give to trigger this reciprocity? All right, scarcity. Now, I'm going to say this is one of the most important things that you got to build into your offer. Now, when it first to understand it, think of eBay. When eBay started, I think one of the greatest things that they didn't have that, buy now. Years ago when they started, you would bid. And I have seen, and I'm not lying, at least 100 times, I have seen people overbid on the item because uh, see, they believed it's only, say it's Friday at 4 p.m. and then the eBay auction ends and people desperately wanted something. I have seen the price go up 50% above, and it's happened over and over again. Well, why is that? First, they believed it's over. There's a scarcity. It was believable. There's a third party. It wasn't fake. So you got to build in some type of scarcity, because if there's like, let me think about it. Well, that really means never. I'll get back to you. They never will get back to you. Life gets in the way. It's not like they're lying or anything. It's just we're so distracted. So you got to have an ability to have an end and to have a scarcity. So people, you want them to take action. I'll give you one more example. And when you have a hot real estate market, I have a friend in California, and they had inherited a house from the mother who passed away, and they listed it for 1.1 million, and people were just throwing offers, and somebody paid 1.3, $200,000 over the asking price because they believe it. There was an end date to when the house was being sold. There were other people bidding. They knew that. They saw, and there's a scarcity in the market. They knew that because it was the only house for sale in a few blocks. There was not any other house for sale. Now, obviously, we're not selling houses or whatever, but I want to tell you that scarcity and end of time, those are very important, and it triggers something subconsciously to take action. So the question is, what can you do it? How can you do it so it's believable? And you can't lie. Somehow people know. So think of how to construct scarcity legitimately, honestly. How can it be done? Now, you might let me try to think for a second how I'll give you an example here. When I used to sell websites. So we had like a templated website that we used to sell to real estate professionals. It was like $800 roughly. Well, different prices, but and then that would be it. However, people would come. I had a website I sold. The most I ever sold was for $20,000. It was a customized website. Well, in order to get them to close, and I wasn't lying, it was true. I made an offer, and then I said, this is contingent that right now I have the graphic designers we need and the developers who can deliver and everything. However, they are available today, and I need an answer by tomorrow because they're going to get employed on one or multiple projects. So if I get you, they're going to have to be put off. This amount of bandwidth has to be delivered to you. So I'm not lying. I created scarcity based on the bandwidth. They understood it. They believed it. It was true. So I'm trying to think is how can you create scarcity that's not a lie? Because I see so many lies, and what's going to happen is you're going to lose your credibility. A lot of these people are not going to buy, but if they see that you're lying, they're not going to buy from you later. They're going to avoid you. So if they didn't accept this website and they came back 6 months later, they know I wasn't lying with that scarcity. And they're probably the first questions when they come back say, okay, we weren't ready then, Dan, but we're ready now for that website. Or they might be ready for like a landing page or a funnel or something. Do you have availability? Would probably be the first question. They said, well, let me check. So that's what I think you need to do. All right. So the other thing that's subconscious is social proof. A lot of times people do not want to be the first to take the offer. For some reason, if 10 other people have taken advantage of this offer, the 11th person feels a lot more comfortable. This is some type of a subconscious trigger. So how can you create some type of a social proof? Again, stories. So the preparatory offer phase is where you're going to handle this in advance. So when you get to the offer, they either heard a story of people who are very happy. Maybe you showed a testimonial. Maybe they saw some testimonials, that you put on the website page. You told them a story of how you did this. If it's something that you talk, you do a presentation one-on-one or to a group, you told some stories of how you help people, then they know other people have done this. So you want to see if you can build in some social proof in this. That's really going to help you dramatically with the offer. So think of how can you tell that others have gone through the offer and they were happy. Okay, so that's going to be important. And if it's your first time and you have none, what I always recommend is give some away in exchange. So it has to, you make a deal. Say, listen, I'm going to sign you up. Either, if you can't give it away and this is expensive, then give them some type of discount, but make it clear that you're expecting a testimonial. Now, if you need to get testimonials in your products, the other thing is I would say develop a procedure, and you can probably tie this in if you have a listing on Google Maps, where they have the feedback, or on these other sites. After someone tells you that they're happy, have you or your staff send a link and say, well, would you mind just sharing your feedback? Once you know it's positive, you don't want them to put a 1-star review online. So make it a procedure that you just send them a link, make it easy. And then if you do that, you're going to increase the amount of 5-star reviews, because that's becoming a bigger factor too. And the other thing is, when a lot of people, when they see the offer, they're probably going to Google you. And if they see more 5-star reviews, that makes a big difference, by the way. I'm going to say for me, I have Googled the person, and then I see more 5-star reviews and good written reviews. I've gone with them over the other ones. So social proof is important in the pre-offer segment, or when you actually make the offer, slip it in there. And maybe nothing, because they might not believe you. So make sure it's online. And if it's not, start working on, often people will say, oh, Dan, that was great. Or, hey, Bob, one of my customers. And then I say, well, Bob, how come I don't see any 5-star reviews? And well, no one goes on their own. So you're going to have to kind of send them the link, make it easy. They click on it, leave a little bit of review, and that's it. And you can automate that, down the road if you want. I'll show you some tools that you can plug in, and it'll take care of that for you. We'll text them the link, or they click on it. Usually on the phone, they're logged into Google, boom, 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 they put it in, and you're done, but you got to kind of initiate it. Then the other thing is, believe it or not, there's some studies, you can watch this. It's kind of disturbing, but a lot of times people will take action when it's somebody who has authority versus somebody who has no authority. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, for example, say, someone in a uniform, a lab coat, is more likely to get the person to take the action, the desired action, than a nobody, a no authority. So you got to somehow establish yourself as an authority first. It doesn't mean you can't make the sale or anything. This is just a factor that your offer will have a higher conversion rate. Now, what makes somebody an authority? Well, like if you have some kind of a certifications, a title, a license. Now, a lot of times you don't need that. Okay. I have also seen people build authority by just simply publishing a book. So during that pre-offer phase, you mentioned that you're a best-selling author, if that's the case, or you mentioned that you did some seminars. If you saw the slide that I just did, I said, I've been teaching for 10 years. That makes me a little bit of an authority. It doesn't have to be a lot. If you just, I'll tell you what the biggest, most believable way to make you an authority in 15 minutes, and that is to simply teach and describe the problem that your prospect has better than they understand it. I have made sales literally when I went through and I have explained a particular issue where they were struggling, but after I explained it, they had crystal clarity. They would instantly hire me. Instantly. I literally then had more authority the moment because I was able to demonstrate that I understand this. So I didn't need any certification, any title, any license, and so on. In some particular niches, like if you're a dentist, well, obviously you need a license, So you're selling some expensive $40,000 procedure, you better have a license. And you're still gonna have to sell. They'll go between three dentists. So dentists have to sell, believe it or not. They need to have a good offer. So those are some of the things. There's other ways to establish authority, but I think this will probably get you started if you haven't done that yet. And then also the other thing that I've seen people have incredibly difficult way to pay. So if this offer is a money offer, you offer something, but you make them create an account, then they need to go get a check, then mail it or do a wire transfer and so on. You gotta, often this will break the whole thing. So the easier it can be, the better it is. So a lot of times, like on PayPal, you can set up like a one click if they have an account. The easier you can make this, the better. The least information, the least data. Uh, you want to think about that because now this is getting easier and easier because there's all these platforms that you can plug in that literally just click, put the credit card, done. Or if it's like Zelle, it's like click pretty much and you get the money. And I've had a couple of clients, they do this digital cryptocurrency kind of things. Those were even easier, literally phone, scan, press, and then the Bitcoin goes. I've seen it super easy, but that's like for the new generation. But easy, that's the thing. Again, that's another one where you might want to hire a couple of people to go through and see how difficult it is to pay. And then, have them pay, give them all the money in advance, plus the fee for doing it, and maybe have them record the whole process and have them narrate of how difficult or easy it was. Okay. So very important, make it easy. And then the buying process is very emotional. It's not logical for some reason, most of them. But you might have something where it's not. Again, this might not apply for a commodity, but like the weight loss example that I was giving you with keto, I was very emotional always. It's horrible. You get big and you're shortness of breath, you're passing out. It's like it was very emotional for me, and I was buying these programs, spending money. So I buy with emotion, then I try to justify later with facts. But you want to tell stories of how it's going to be, once you lose your weight, or how it's going to be once they accomplish what it is your product or service does, and try to paint an emotional picture. So again, that's one of those videos or text that kind of try to write it more emotionally versus like in facts. The facts will justify, but the emotion will sell. Paint as much of an emotional picture as you can. Now we're going to that the offer needs to be targeted. In other words, what that means is the more it's targeted to the individual, the more that they're going to buy. So be specific. Now, I'll give you an example. I have seen offers, like, for example, like, it's just for pregnant women. And, this is how to get back to the weight. Because when I was looking for weight, I got to see all kinds of programs, but I remember seeing it just specifically for pregnant women, how to get your weight back the way it was before you were pregnant. So I was thinking that's got to work phenomenally because it's so targeted. So the more you can do that, the better. It might require that you have different types of offers, but and what you can do is you can have a general offer, but then when someone comes in and say they fill out a form on your website, they ask something and say they mention something specific, well, maybe you have some in the back targeted offers, or you can customize the offer just for him. When I used to sell customized websites, landing pages, and so on, I would target the offer very, very specific to them. That's how it was set up. So try to think is how can you target this offer to make it super specific. And that's going to be it. There's a lot more to this, by the way. I prepared this last week and this week because I'm actually writing a couple of Kindle ebooks. So this is part of the book's chapters. If you can think of something that I haven't covered that you think would be valuable or you need help on, I'm on LinkedIn. If you type in Dan Slobodan, there's two of us. I'm the guy on stage. Connect with me. You can message me, or you can email me, dan@monthlymastermind.org, or go to the website. There's a contact form. You will fill it out. It'll come to me. And I would love to get your questions after the event or when you watch the video. However, for those of you who are live, I'm going to switch over and see if there's any questions. So thank you very much. And we have a few people still here. Good. I'm going to go figure out how this chat works. So here we go. I'm going to first read the text one, and then if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself or I will unmute you, and then we'll chat. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people here. All right, let's go here. Scott, psychology has been changing a lot since the pandemic started. Our evolution as we become less comfy. I think they measure their wins by how much they got for free. The needles have been moving in people's behavior. Okay, well, I agree. Oh, typo scarcity slide. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I gotta have to fix all the typos. If you guys see it, let me know. And I'm gonna hire an editor later for the book. Can you toss these links in the chat box? Absolutely. I'm actually gonna send this PowerPoint to everybody. I'll have it on Monday. On Monthly Mastermind, there'll be a video, a link to the YouTube, every link, and then all the notes will be in there. I would appreciate the slides as well. Yep, I'll have it, Andre. And then go ahead, just type in if anybody wants to chat a little bit. I would just love to hear at least one person because I want to see if this dial pad works because I want to use this instead of Zoom for my one-on-one. So anybody brave out of the people who are here who wants to chat for a few minutes? And then it would be great if you guys can click, see if you can unmute yourself. I'm just curious. And then we'll end this. Thank you.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Scott. How you doing? Thank you for spotting the typo.
Absolutely, no problem. I saw it. I heard that you mentioned, that you were just going through this and developing it, and that you were looking, for any of the feedback. It was the only error that I saw.
Oh, thank you. And
I apologize for bringing psychology into this. I would just say that the science of selling has changed because people have changed. And even if they know you can help with their problem, a lot of people say that they want to go it, alone, go on their own. I think they're cash strapped,
yeah,
right? And they're uncertain. But what I'd say, you should hire a specialist. I over the summer, I tore the roof off my garage. It's a 3-car garage. I thought I'd save a ton of money. And when I had the people, come out and quote it, I asked, how much money did I save by doing that by myself with my surgically repaired wrist? And they're like, maybe about $500. right? Because I've got a team of people. They do that all the time.
That's
You're
perfect.
one person. You're not a specialist. You're one person. You're not a team.
So I'll tell you
But
what, and that's actually excellent, Scott. So I sold 1,200 websites in about 5 years. And I would always tell a story of the person who was building his website for 3 years. And I told them how that free website, how expensive it is, which is all true, you know. So maybe with you is tell them a little story if they go by themselves for free, how cheap it is. Once they realize, sometimes they'll say, okay, well, I better pay $5,000. That's cheaper. They had that
oh,
specialist.
oh yeah. Well, the way I frame it is the cost of doing nothing always costs more than hiring me. When I have my sales proposition and proposition of value, I show, like, the cost of doing nothing is what you're hemorrhaging right now. The cost of hiring me with known, validated, and certified tools and processes and the science to solve this is going to cost this,
Totally
right?
agree, Scott. Yeah, totally agree. And this is all learning for all of us, is building up in not forgetting. Like if I do a one-on-one with somebody, I try to tell a few of these stories in the conversation. Then it won't come up as an objection on the road. So that's excellent. Thank you. And I have, if you don't mind, Scott, I have Andre ask me a question. Let's see, Andre, do you want to chat? Okay, the microphone doesn't work. So I'm going to just read Andre's question. How do you go about emotions in a B2B context? It's a matter of human to human. Okay, good question. I actually, most of my customers are business owners, so it's a B2B. But at some point, there's always going to be a human who pulls the trigger. Now, sometimes it's multiple people, and sometimes I've actually worked a couple of nonprofit. There's like a board. The more people in the business that have to pull the trigger, the more difficult it is. But I really believe that there is emotion involved, even for like a B2B. I don't know exactly. Maybe down the road, if you want, Andre, contact me. We can do a little one-on-one, so I can kind of specifically see what you offer in B2B, and maybe I can come up with something more specific for you. Let me see. Anybody else want to chat? If not, we'll end this. Yellen, thank you for the information. Many practical tips for me to use. You're welcome. Alan, can you toss these links? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we'll have the links for you guys on Monday. And anybody else wants to chat, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm ending.
Hey, Dan, I had a
Yes.
quick question.
Go ahead.
I'm a content marketer and copywriter, and it's kind of tough. I've done it before, but I'd like to try it again, of offering. Obviously, 3 free emails would be easy, but I write more in content, like blog posts and things. Do you have any ideas for that?
Okay. All right. So you're a copywriter, and like you do, I'm assuming, like long form sales letters, video sales letters, scripts, stuff like that. Would that be correct, or just the email?
Yeah, I do mostly shorter articles and blog posts. I mean, that's
Okay.
what I've done. Yes, I've done long sales letters as well.
Okay. So let me ask you this: do you pick up clients from like intermediate broker sites, like Upwork, or do you directly get customers? How does it work in general? What's the most common way you get clients?
Most common is I find a business, and usually I wish I had a niche. It'd be a whole lot easier for me if I just wrote for plumbers, but I really don't right now. I'm more of a generalist. So it's it's really hit and miss, and that's what I'm trying to get away from.
Okay. Okay, great. So let me give you a couple of things. I have worked with a few copywriters over the years, and what I discovered is if you can somehow get them to come to you, I have seen the prices go 10x. I've seen it go 10x. So let me give you an example what I mean, Royce. It's Royce, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's pretend that you do a little presentation. So right now you have those LinkedIn events. By the way, I discovered that 6 months ago. And let's say you're going to go through how to improve your copy. And then you got the tips, the headlines, then you have, the text, the clarity, like all the stuff that you specialize in. So you're going to go teach a little bit of copywriting, and then your call to action is the Calendly. Let's just pretend. I'm not sure what system you're using. They book a one-on-one. What you've done then is you first establish yourself as the expert. You almost pre-sold yourself because it'll give you a chance to throw in some of those stories of having a bad copywriter, how expensive that is. So you go through these things, you kind of throw it in as you're teaching, you know. And now, say you only get 3 appointments. Well, what's going to happen is you're already pre-sold. Anybody who signs up for a one-on-one with you afterwards, after that event, you're golden. Now, because you're already going to businesses one-on-one, the other thing you can do is set up that event, and then in your email that you're sending them, invite them to the event, and then tell them you're getting these bonuses. And then maybe as one of the bonuses, like we're doing this little Q&A, you can do, you know, free evaluation of your articles. You know, somebody can just share a screen or ask them what the website is, and then review a few of them. That will, you know, that will show and prove that you're a good copywriter, and they'll believe you. So those are some of the things I've seen copywriters do. The other thing is you can go to sites like Quora, and I've seen a couple of copywriters where they'll just go share tips. And then at the end, on your profile link on Quora.com, and this is a site where people get their questions answered, they will literally then book an appointment with the person. So those are just a few. I can think a little more, Royce, if you want. You know, message me on LinkedIn or in my email on the feedback form, and me and you will do a little one-on-one. Once I have a little time before the appointment, I can think through of all the stuff other copywriters have done, and then I'll write them down, and then I'll share them with you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see if there's anything else. Your specifics on LinkedIn. Let me show you guys where my LinkedIn is real quick. So if you can see the screen. So my LinkedIn is, if you type in Dan, Slobodan in here, I think there's only 2 of us. And then just connect with me, and I check all the messages every other day. So let me go back to, anyway, were you guys able to see that? Yep. And I think that's it. Oh, good. Thank you, Alan. All right. Anybody else want to chat, or are we good? All right. I think we're good. I want to thank you guys. It helped me a lot. I'm actually writing this. It's going to be on Amazon at some point, and I will have an editor. But this helps me kind of formulate to make sure that I've covered at least the basics. And thank you for your time. I value that more than anything. And I'll have this on the video. I'll take out anything that's inappropriate, and I will have it on Monday morning on monthlymastermind.org, and I'll put it on my desktop on LinkedIn. And then you guys can download it. I'll have the PowerPoint. I'll have every link and every note. And I'll put a link to the where you can actually, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, it's free. On average, it's 45 minutes. The thing that me and you can do is I can look at your site. I can look at your sales funnel and everything. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for your time. And I'll have this next week as well on a different topic. All right. Bye.